Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we have more Retribution Paladin talk here from the beta. Going to be calling this the Thanksgiving update for one reason, really, and that's, well, one, I do celebrate Thanksgiving as an American, but Blizzard devs, at least one, had tweeted that they basically aren't going to be doing any updates this week on the beta, and there actually is a new beta build coming on Tuesday, directly after the holiday. And of course, that's the patch day as well on retail for 11.2.7 or whatever, where I think the housing goes live and everything else on retail for people who pre-ordered or whatever. So next week's going to be extremely busy. This week, not so much. But I didn't want to go too long between beta videos here for multiple reasons. But I thought I would address some comments from my concerned video that I did last and talk about some other things that I've, found out since then as well. So nothing new to report, nothing like major to report until Tuesday or later, but here's a little update. Let's start first by addressing, some comments, concerns, and stuff like that, or just questions in general, right? Some people aren't fully grasping, I feel like, why I am focusing so much on Herald right now instead of Templar. And I've talked about it multiple times, but I'll try to go over it again here at the start of a video, and maybe people will understand a little bit better. But on Templar, when you use your Divine Toll, it activates a Hammer of Light proc. Now, you have to still build the Holy Power for it, but it does not seem as that is intended because, first of all, it's a prop Paladin thing, and second of all, nothing on the Ret Paladin stuff says that should be happening. Nothing on the tooltip, nothing on any data mining, nothing anywhere says that you should be getting that Hammer of Light. And so testing Templar is very weird to do right now because not only is that happening, but you can also kind of abuse it by doing the Judge, Jury, Executioner thing. And so what you can do is you can use your Wake of Ashes to get to 5, use your Hammer of Light, use your Divine Toll, which the Judge, Jury, Executioner is going to refund those 5 Holy Power. Use your Divine Toll, you waste 1 Holy Power, but now you get to press Hammer of Light again. And you're immediately at like full Crusade stacks, right? And so you can completely abuse this. And in my opinion, that's not worth testing. Now, if it ends up being intended, then that's great. Templar is going to feel great if that ends up being intended. But right now, it's just so easy to just get free damage. And even with that, it's not like it's that much better than Herald anyways. So that's why I'm focusing on Herald. It's because Templar is inherently, right now, and maybe on Tuesday that won't be the case, right? Or we'll have some feedback like, yeah, actually you are going to get this other Hammer of Light and it's going to feel awesome, right? But until we know that, I don't put much stock into it because I'm not going to sit there and bug test, like exploit bug the spec and then be like, oh, they fixed it, so everything I did was pointless. Like, there's no point of doing that for me. So that's why I'm focused more on Herald. Not because I love Herald more or whatever. It's because Templar isn't really playable right now in any terms of gathering concrete data, right? It's playable in that it does decent damage and that you can, I'm saying exploit a bug. It's not like you're being harmful or anything by doing it. You're on beta, right? That's what you're supposed to do. But you're just taking advantage of a bug. And it's not really super helpful in my opinion. So that's to address the concerns about why I'm focused on Herald or anything like that. And to be frank, I actually saw somebody, I'm 99% sure were referencing me in the Ret Discord as well, referencing my video. And, why is he so hung up on Herald? And people are like, Herald isn't even a Ret spec. Well, just for everyone knows, it's just because of that. In my opinion, it's a waste of time until either that's fixed or it's known that it's intended. So that's that. So that's the Herald versus Templar thing. I had a lot of, seen a lot of different things about that, why I was focusing on Herald. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was I had mentioned that some things seems like they're bugged to me. And so, I went to different sources, including the Discord, including other people, other theory crafters and stuff like that, right? And there are some bugs, and notably on the training dummies, right? Which is very normal in this game, unfortunately. Sometimes things just don't work properly on training dummies. So some of the judgment feeling very terrible is just because I've been doing it on a training dummy. It doesn't feel quite as terrible in like a raid boss, but it's still not great. Would be my summation there. It's not great, but it doesn't feel as terrible. So the training dummy is a big reason for the judgment being bugged and stuff like that. Now I don't see anybody else really talking about the tier set, and I keep kind of harping on it, but based on everything I'm seeing, the tier set must just not be working correctly. That's the only thing. Everyone's numbers are matching mine, and that I've seen at least. Now maybe there's stuff I haven't seen, right? I haven't seen every single possible set of data, but the tier set seems extremely low. And we'll go over it just quickly again because I really want this to get fixed by Tuesday, because honestly, if the tier set is fixed or working properly, and if it is working properly, it just needs tuned higher, right? If that gets tuned to proper spots, I think Ret's overall damage will just be a lot better, right? Because it'll be a big buff if that's the case. So the tier set is, it increases your Experg by 20%, and then your Divine Storm and your Templar's Verdict also apply a lower amount of Experg as well to your target, but it extends it, right? So it continually extends the Experg on your target. We can just see it real quick, I guess. So I'll put Experg on. You can see it's right here. And then I'm going to use Templar's Verdict, and you're going to see it extend, right? It's a lesser amount, but it's extending. Something on that isn't working correctly. Oops, dropped my phone. Something on that is not working correctly, but yeah, or it's just tuned terribly. One of the two. I would love to see that get fixed. It's the same in dungeons as it is on the training dummy, so I don't think it's a training dummy thing. I think it's just messed up. It's either tuned incredibly low, or it just isn't working correctly. I think personally it's not working correctly, but I could be wrong there. That's just my own feeling based on, my experience. So tier set could be fixed. Tier set could fix a lot of woes. Herald feels worse than Templar, but only because only because Templar has that extra Hammer of Light. It makes it feel like retail, right? That's the tier set on retail, and so it makes it feel a lot better. But Herald feels a little bit worse. We mentioned the Hammer of Wrath Judgment thing as well, and I did want to mention this as well. So first of all, the fact that it does do a little bit more damage on real enemies and not on training dummies, that is good, right? So that's like, okay, so that alleviates a little bit of it. They're not like completely like drowning out Hammer of Wrath and Judgment. It's just a training dummy thing. But also in terms of how it feels, because I showed you with Radiant Glory how you don't really have time to press Judgment or Hammer of Wrath inside of your wings. Another bug is that your Blessing of Anchi isn't working unless Avenging Wrath is active. So when you use Crusade, you have time to do it at the end a little bit. But when you use Radiant Glory, you have no time to do it, right? Which makes Radiant Glory almost unplayable, because then it's like half these talents don't do anything. So that's a bug as well. And also, I've noticed that playing the double Judgment, while it kind of stinks in one way because you're kind of giving up on your mastery a little bit, for AoE, that might be okay. And so what might end up being the thing is that for Herald, now Herald isn't strictly AoE, right? But it might just be when you play Herald, you might play Improved Judgment, and then for Templar, you might play Boundless Judgment, right? That's kind of where I'm thinking right now. And so it does feel better with this because, first of all, they only give one Holy Power, so you're not really going to overcap. And so you can sneak in 2 quick Blessing of Anchis really quick, right? And get those out, not waste the proc, essentially, right? And so that feels a lot better doing that. So I did want to mention that as well, because I did show you guys how bad that feels with Radiant Glory. It's still rough with Radiant Glory, but with Crusade, at least, instead of Radiant Glory, you do get a chance to get off your Blessing of Anchi, which is it's markedly better than not doing so. So it just might be where Herald of the Sun is kind of paired with Improved Judgment, and that could just be, then that's not a bad thing at all, right? That could just be a good thing. And so that alleviates my concern a little bit, and I'm kind of starting to see maybe the vision of what they're going for here. I won't know for sure until things are working properly, but I kind of see where they're going with this. Honestly, this is a way too early prediction, so do not quote me on this. This is not this does not affect my how often I'm right percentage here, but this is an early prediction. But I actually think they might be going for like the opposite of what I always hoped for, and Herald of the Sun might be like a little bit better on single target, and Templar might be a little bit better in dungeons. I could see that happening the way things are setting up right now. And by no means am I guaranteeing that, but I could see it happening. So I'm putting it out early, and if I end up being right, I'll call back to this. But if I'm wrong, I'm not going to be surprised. It's also possible that just one of them is going to be good for everything, right? Just like we had in War Within. Maybe Templar's just going to be the best at everything, or maybe Herald's going to be the best at everything. You know, Herald is a real ret spec, despite what some people might say. And I do want to play Herald at least a little bit in Midnight, although I love Templar too. I've been playing, since there hasn't been any updates to beta, been playing a little bit more retail, doing some keys, you know, and it's playing Templar and having a lot of fun. I like Templar too, guys. So it's not like some tribal thing where you have to pick one. I like both of them, but I would like to play both of them as well. So yeah, we'll see more on Tuesday. We'll see what they fix, if anything. Hopefully at least some of the stuff is fixed. I think, like I said, though, I'm starting to kind of see their vision for it. And their vision for it could be actually pretty good once everything's working properly. I think the tier set itself just needs to fall into place. Because like it seems like a lot of stuff might be built around that. And it not being tuned properly or whatever, it's just like, oh yeah, so this is why. So like if you don't know, like if you break down the damage or whatever, so Xberg's higher up now because I didn't hit the dummy very long, but Xberg will be like your 8th damage, and when your 2 and your 4 set are augmenting your Xberg damage, you're going to want that to be much higher. Like that should probably be in the top 5, maybe top 4 of your damage when it's your entire tier set is just that. There's nothing else to tier set except Xberg damage, and so I think we're going to see that go higher. And then I think everything's going to kind of feel better because of that. Every verdict you press, so verdict's like your number 1 damage, every verdict you press is going to feel even better because you're extending your expurgation, which is doing damage. Every divine storm you press is going to feel even better because you're extending your expurgation and it's doing more damage. So everything's going to have a little bit more impact, I think, when the tier set works. And I think that is largely where my angst is coming from, is like seeing other people with tier sets that work and ours isn't, or is severely undertuned. I think that is where a lot of my angst is from. And I've talked about it a lot, and I think that's like inherently something I should think of as well. The fact that I feel compelled to talk about it so much is probably because it's probably the number 1 thing that feels like it's kind of holding Rat back a little bit. Talent choices can make Blessing of Anshi feel better. You know, obviously the Templar thing needs to be sorted out with the extra Hammer of Light, but we'll see. I just wanted to do a little update, address some of the comments, some of the other concerns I've heard and stuff like that. You know, I had somebody telling me I was spreading misinformation or something like that in one comment. That's crazy to me. But anyway, I wanted to just kind of give a little update for Thanksgiving, because this will probably be the only beta video I do since there's going to be no updates at all. And then next week, after we have updates, hopefully there's changes and stuff. And if there is, we'll go over it, and hopefully some of those concerns will be addressed, and I can be less angsty myself and be a little bit more hype like I normally am for things. So that'll be it for this one though, guys. Maybe some retail videos, or probably not Legionary Mix, maybe some other video later this weekend or something like that. But if you do if you're American or you celebrate Thanksgiving or whatever, you know, or if you don't, you know, hope you have a nice day anyways. And a happy holiday and stuff like that. If you're traveling, be careful, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, hopefully a lot more. Well, there will be a lot more to do next week, regardless, whether it's retail or beta. But yeah, that's where we are now. Some of my concerns are a little bit less, knowing that it's a known bug in some cases, and just kind of being like, okay, let's get this tier set working and then see where we are. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. A little bit less concerned than the last video. So that'll be it for this one though, guys. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon link down below. Other than that, everybody, have a good one.